G'day everyone, great to be here and thank you for having me. I'd like to start off by paying my respects to Uncle Cole and the Yorta Yorta people. Thank you for your very warm welcome to country, Uncle Cole. And we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you. Okay, so let me just do a little bit of profiling in the audience first. Hands up those people who think tourism is going to wreck their favourite spot. Be honest. Few hands going up? Okay. Hands up those people who pay to go fishing somewhere else. Guess what? You're tourists. So, my job today is to try and get you to understand what it is we can do for tourism in Victoria, why it's important, who should we target and how should we go about it. And we will answer that question, will it stuff up my favourite spot? Like all things, we need a goal, and the goal is to be Australia's premier multi-species, multi-region fishing tourism destination that combines everything Victoria has to offer with our outstanding fishing experience. You think about everything Victoria's got. It's got wineries, it's got food, it's got gin distilleries, it's got breweries, it's got art, it's got sport, and you could go on and on and on. We live in a fantastic state. You put fishing in that mix, which we haven't traditionally done as well as we could, bang. Off it goes. That's the plan. So how are we going to do it? There's a few priorities there, and I'll just quickly talk through each of these in the next couple of slides. So why? Why do we want to increase tourism from fishing? Well, it's about jobs, 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 jobs and more jobs, okay? Tourism is a regional development or an economic development activity. It's something we all love to do. We all follow our passions. We all go for experiences, but the governments drive it primarily because it creates jobs. There are massively other benefits from tourism as well. Health and well-being being one of them, mental health and so forth. And so what I want you to do is focus in on that middle one there. 27,300 jobs in Victoria created through tourism, fishing. And if you include the boating industry, it goes up to 42,000 jobs. Now that's direct jobs, direct people employed as a result of fishing and boating. It's quite staggering, isn't it? A lot of words on this slide. I'm not going to get you to read them all, but up here on the left, that's our strengths in Victoria's fisheries. So we've classified these from a tourism perspective, not necessarily from a fisheries perspective. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes for a minute, stop reading that, and I'm going to tell you Victoria's next fishing campaign here. Okay, you picture yourself, close your eyes, you've got Shay and her family up in the territory reeling in a barra. And the kids say to her, "What's that, Mum?" And she says, "It's another bloody barra." Okay, bored with barra, flick across, same family in Victoria, reeling in a big cod. Same family, reeling in a big tuna off the south coast of Victoria. Another, reeling in a big shark and a big trout and a big flatty. Come to Victoria, we've got it all. It's about the diversity of the offer we have in Victoria, okay? Now, cod is a really important part of that diversity, particularly with the Benunga Trail and particularly with Eildon, but also some others as well. How are we going to capture the benefits from tourism? It's about getting people to spend more. It's around getting more people to travel Victoria. It's around getting people to stay longer, and hence the combination of activities, tourism, sport, wine, food, etc. It's around increasing the likelihood of friends coming with you, of family coming with you. It's around attracting people from outside Victoria to fish here. And ultimately, I'll talk through a couple of examples where I think, and while international borders are shut at the moment, we can target some very specific international fishers to come to Victoria and spend a lot of money. Now, anyone that's got a rewards card from Qantas or Woolworths or Ritchies or anything, guess what? You're profiled. You're profiled on your spend pattern, you're profiled on when you shop. It's not to give you rewards, it's to give the company the information on you. And you'll be profiled. You'll be called a weekday shopper or a weekend shopper or a junk food shopper or a health shopper or whatever. So when we decided to look into how we can increase the benefits from tourism, we thought we've got to sort of differentiate the tourism market or the fishing market. And so this was our attempt to do it. So Clearly the novice fisher, then we move through the spectrum to the casual fisher, the recreational fisher, the sporting fisher and the high value fisher. And each of those will have a different preference for where they fish, how they get their fishing information, how they spend and so forth. Now that's an important exercise, and there's more art to this than there is science, although there's a bit of sort of spending science and demographics behind it. The importance of doing this is because if you're going to target destinations and if you're going to target more spending, then you need to understand who it is you're attracting. And anyone here in business will know that if you're running a business, you're selling something to someone who wants to buy it, and hopefully you're selling it for more than you bought it for, so you make a small profit or a large profit or whatever. The more you can understand who you're selling that to, the better off you'll be. So that's my marketing 101. Each market segment has different needs. Which one offers the best return for the product and service you're running? And each has a different source of information. That's important. There are some important elements of success here. Infrastructure to support each destination and each target market. Partnerships with visitors, particularly the visitor economy, Every region in Victoria has a regional tourism board. And I think one of the things that the fishing industry can do better in Victoria is partner with the rest of the sector to package, to promote, to join with other experiences and so forth. To give you an example, Tourism Australia targets the international market. That's their job. Now, the international markets, as I said, are closed with COVID, but they will return. And it might be a year, might be 2, might be 3, might be 4, but they will return. Victoria only has one great fishing adventure listed that is sold to international wholesale buyers and tourism product buyers overseas. Yet the boring old Barra up the top end has multiple. So I think that tells you a little bit about the opportunity that exists for Victoria to actually package and really target markets overseas and some of those markets I mentioned earlier. Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, ATW, that's essentially the listing warehouse. And I don't know how many of our fishing industry businesses or the like are listed on that, but again, to be part of a cooperative marketing campaign, you generally need to be listed in there. So all of these things can be done through partnerships and discussions with your regional tourism board. So that's a really important thing, and it gives you access to tourism business grants, visitor servicing, etc. Okay, so one of the target markets that I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the high value fisher. Okay, there's a couple of examples up there from New Zealand who does this particularly well. They target the high value fisher. These people are prepared to pay several $1,000s a day for a unique experience, and experience is the word. There's no guarantee you're going to catch a fish, but you've got a private guide. If you do catch a fish, it'll be cooked for you back in a lodge. You'll be treated to local wines. You might have some Indigenous storytelling by a local elder or something. Or, they're the sort of experiences that really captures people's hearts and minds because they want to learn about where they're going. Why am I saying that? Because I do think Victoria has a great opportunity to tap into this market. And where should it go? I personally think the cod market or the cod fishery is the perfect place to do this. Now, whether it's at Eildon or on the Goulburn or on the Lower Ovens or on the Murray, that's for the market to decide, but I do think that opportunity exists. There we go. A couple of other things, and these are some of the basic things, and apologies to any land managers that are here. Presentation, it's basic, Again, if you do run a business, if you run a shop, one of the first things you do is make sure it's clean, tidy and well presented, okay? The one on the left there, it's a nice view, it's on the Lower Ovens. The one on the right, on the Goulburn, pretty shabby, pretty poor. If you're trying to sell this as an experience to someone, Destination development. So again, bottom left, you can see some of the fish cleaning infrastructure at Portland, really switched on to the tuna. And in fact, you know, for those of you that have ever been down there, one of the locals comes along and for $15, you know, he brings the sharp knives and fillets your tuna for you. I've never caught one, but I've seen it happen. Great experience, you know, and this guy just tells you all the stories and so forth. The middle one, interestingly, I haven't talked a lot about the novice and casual fishers. They're really the feeding ground for the recreational and sports fishers, and I'm guessing a lot of people in this room, if I had to profile you, you would be the recreational and sports fishers. You're passionate about a fishery, you're passionate about experience and catching a big cod and so forth. It's really important that we don't lose sight of if you like, the feeding ground for you, for your market, and that is the casual and the novice things. So how do we do that? We can do it through events, we can do it through targeting information, we can do it through giveaways, but we can also do it through the right set of infrastructure. The middle one's there, that's at Marysville, okay? It's just the lake in the middle of Marysville. Fishing platforms, stock it with trout, let kids go and catch fish there. It's easy, it's accessible, and it gets all the kids into fishing. Welcoming, and apologies to anyone from the Moira Shire, this is just an example, but the one on the right there, I'm sure you've all seen it before. I turn off when I see that stuff. It doesn't give me a sense of welcome. There are other ways and more effective ways of getting regulation across to you. And Ben, you know, you just talked around the exciting nature of legislation. It is important, but the one on the left, I think, does it better. Cod specifically, let's just spend a minute on this. It is growing its importance as a species in Victoria, and it is something we do better than anywhere else, we believe. There is an opportunity to bring cod fishing people from the novice sector right through to the sports sector, through targeting events, through the right set of information, the right channels and so forth. If we do that, you've got fisher people for life. I've already talked around the targeting the high value fishing lodge. And importantly on the bottom, and Taylor talked a bit about this in his talk earlier, sustainable stocking and fish production, managing our environment. The fish live in this environment. The more we can maintain that, the better off the fish are, the better off we are. So, with 2 minutes left, will it stuff up my favourite spot? If we get more tourists, with over 2.6 million young cod to be stocked, an investment of $7 million in a native fish hatchery, which Anthony's going to talk about in a minute, $3 million for a visitor centre, and the different needs of the different markets added to the whole new and diverging destinations such as Eildon. I don't think so. I hope you share that view, and I hope my presentation today has reinforced the importance of tourism and fishing and combining the two. So thank you.